No.
I know. And then it started happening. I don't know if you need to make John a co-host too, or if we can. Yeah, because we had another webinar I did, I don't know, it was 2-3 weeks ago. It was the same thing. And she literally couldn't get me to turn my camera on. So it was like, she made me the host and then I had to make her the host again. And then it was like, don't turn your camera off. Like, it was like, once you turn it off, you couldn't get it back. I don't know what Zoom did to this feature, but
whatever. Figured it out. So we do have some attendees. I think when I made you all co-host, it automatically started the webinar. So just so you guys know, we may have some people listening in, and that's okay, because we're just going to do some testing. So let me see here.
I have a question for you, Jen.
Yeah.
While we're waiting, I was thinking, what do you do to get psyched up? Like before you speak, you gotta get pumped. You gotta get the energy flowing. So like, what do you do?
That's a good question.
What was Jen like 10 minutes ago? Like what was, yeah.
I was pounding tea, trying to get some caffeine in me. Honestly, it's one of those things, like, I just love doing this stuff. So once I get started, it's just like, I can't even contain it if I wanted to. So it's not so much that I have to get myself excited, because once I start talking about it and doing it, like, I've had people see me on stage, see me on webinars, and they're like, oh my gosh, how do you keep that much energy for that long? And I'm like, because I'm excited.
Because we're talking Instagram.
Exactly. I'm like, this is
How
just
are you
fun.
not excited right now? That's funny.
But I will admit, about an hour ago, it was a sluggish. It was like, it's early out here. It's not even 9 a.m. for me. So I was like, all right, get together.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy to have you, Jen. So again, we'll start right at about noon. Yeah. And so as people come on, we'll just say hello. And then again, I will just welcome everybody, do some housekeeping, turn it over to John so that he can thank all of our sponsors. And then I will read your bio and you can take it away.
Perfect. And I did double check. I can screen share as the co-host. Okay. So we're good. Awesome. Everything looks like that's working. Good.
Yeah, we're ready. I'm excited to hear from you.
I know. So I always laugh because this session that I'm doing, I actually have audio, but Zoom won't play my slide audio. So it's this weird thing. For all the reasons I love Zoom, it doesn't play the slide audio. So I've literally got my daughter's iPad.
Okay.
And I'm going to play the audio off of the iPad. So
if you need any sound effects or anything,
right?
I can do that.
Audience clapping.
You can point to me, yeah. Instead of just pressing a button, you can just point to me and I'll be like.
Well, I mean, if you want to sing, I mean, I've got some, it's music. So if you want to, bust out the vocal cords for me.
No, that's not me. Did you have a chance to look at our long list of attendees and where they're from?
Yeah.
They're from cool places.
Yeah, and it's a very diverse group. I'm excited. Which, speaking of which, if there's people already here listening to us, tell us where you're from so we know who's here. Drop that in the chat.
And so we know if anyone's listening to us right now.
Right?
So we also.
Although this is being recorded, so at least the replay will listen to us ramble. Just double checking all my slides. Everything's running right. We look good.
Amber, have you received the books from?
Yes, last week.
Yeah.
Yes, so I received the One Little Spark books and I told everyone that they were here to be picked up. So everybody was really excited. So I thought I had one in my office. So yeah. Yeah, One Little Spark. So that's what was given away last week. And it's called Mickey's 10 Commandments and the Road to Imagineering. So.
And we're doing the Instagram for business, right? The
correct.
New one?
And your book will show up at the office in the next, I think it's 2 days. I think it shows up on Saturday. Yep, that's the one.
So are you teasing the audience saying we're giving away some books at the end?
only to the 11, 12 people that are here right now. So don't tell anyone, those of you that are listening right now, but there's a little giveaway at the end.
Yeah, so can you, all the people that are here so far, can you guys see the chat? Are you able to drop in where you're from? I just want to make sure the chat is working. Just say hi, where you're from, where you work, anything like that. Oh, good. Easy. Still, yay. Welcome, Debbie, Steph Library. Jesse's from Louisville, Kentucky. Awesome.
Nothing for Amatrol. We were so excited about the first 3. Amatrol, we were like,
no, I'm very sorry. We're so glad to have
now we have to keep it up for everyone.
Right.
Just to keep it even.
Harry from Animal Protection Association. Awesome. So glad you guys are here and chatting with us. We'll get started in just about 4 or 5 minutes. We just hopped on early, wanted to do some initial discussion and prep and make sure that we are ready to go at noon. We have Jenn Herman here. We will hear a little more from her and I will introduce her momentarily. So if you need to refill your coffee or grab a lunch while you're watching with us today, you have about 4 minutes. So, or tea or Diet Coke or whatever you fancy. Hi, Ashley. Great to see you too. All right, so we do have people coming in. So Jenn, are you nervous? Do you have nervous energy or positive good energy?
All good energy.
Good.
Honestly, it is one of those things like I love to do this. So on occasion, like there have been a couple times when I'm like doing like a live like stage event where I get just like those little kind of nervous jitters just before. But most of the time it is really more just like excitement energy and then we get going. The only time I had a really bad freak out was MDMC 2 years ago, which is in St. Louis, and when they uploaded my slides onto the house computer, the fonts didn't come through. So all my fonts were like running off the pages and I was like, this is not okay. Let me use my computer. Well, I had forgotten to bring all my adapters. So we had no way to plug my computer into the house. And we're talking, this is like 3 minutes before I'm supposed to start talking. And fortunately, somebody in the room next door had the adapter we needed. They ran it over and like we started off. But that was the one time I got on stage. It was like, okay, I am not ready.
Well, Jenn, I have to admit, I was more nervous this week than last week because last week it was with James, someone I know, and he's from Disney World, and he's a great guy. But you, on the other hand, you're great as well, but you are about appearance, right? Instagram and how your pictures come off and your perfect background that you have there. So as I was preparing, I was like, oh man, like how do I look? How's my lighting? Like I was like, is my lighting okay?
Well, I don't know if you noticed, I just turned my lights on. So I actually have like the Devo lights. I have like full stage lights. And because I was like, normally I have good natural light, but it's actually, I'm in San Diego and it's actually raining today. And I don't get to brag about being in San Diego today. But as a result, I don't have very good like natural light coming in. So I had to throw my lights on because I know I'm always like, I've got the lights, I've got all the things. Yeah. It's all about how,
I was like,
it's
I don't have
presented.
my name on the wall behind me. Maybe I should throw that up real quick. I don't know.
Just print it out and put it over that
just
print in the background.
Fast, just to make sure.
Now you look great. It's all very color coordinated. Even the blazer is still in the color tone with the background. It actually really works.
I'm actually wearing a green jacket and I green screened the color to make it match.
Right.
It's not real. It's not real.
We will wait just a couple more minutes. I had a couple emails from people that didn't get the link, so I'm resending it out. That is why I'm quiet. So give me just a second. Just make sure we didn't miss anybody because we want to make sure everybody gets in. So give me 1 to 2 minutes, guys.
Good.
We have Kim, your hand is raised. You want to throw something in the chat? Are you just saying hi?
Yeah, I know. I just noticed we had 2 raised hands too.
Yeah, I'm just looking out. Make sure if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. We can see that.
seeing everybody pop in. It's so exciting. I'm glad everyone's showing up today.
Okay, so I did again receive some emails that people did not get the link, so I've just resent it to all attendees. So if you're here and you get it again, I apologize, but we just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. So we'll give about 2 more minutes if that's okay with you, Jen, just to make sure people get in. I know it is lunchtime. Thank you all for your patience. Let us know if you're eating lunch right now. If you are, what are you eating? You know,
Right?
I haven't had lunch yet, so I'm starving.
Any good suggestions somewhere to go?
Yeah, Chinese, Amanda
Chinese.
Alexander, love it. And so Jen, where are you calling us from today? Remind everybody.
So yeah, I'm down in San Diego, so on the other side of the country. Normally I get to brag about it and tell everybody how it's sunny and warm and gorgeous, but today it's raining. So I'm kind of in the, well, I'm from San Diego. But yeah, so it's early morning for me. So my daughter just had breakfast and I just finished my tea and we're just getting the day started over here.
Excellent. Well, we had snow yesterday in Indiana, so
I know I've been seeing, because I've got a lot of friends. I mean, I'm originally from Canada, so I have a lot of friends and family back east in Canada. And then I got a lot of friends, kind of East Coast as well. And I was seeing all the photos and posts yesterday with everyone like posting about the snow. And I was like, what is happening?
well, it's pretty now, and I think it's supposed to be pretty this weekend. So we'll pray that spring is actually officially here. So looks like we have more people jumping on. That is excellent. Thank you all for being here today. We are kicking off Marketing Palooza Part 2. So this is a 3-part series. We got to hear from James Songster last week and a little Walt Disney World magic. If you were here last week, go ahead and put that in the chat as well and let us know, hey, this is my second time. If it's your first time, let us know that as well. We are excited to present this and have Miss Jenn Herman here with us today. So just a little bit of housekeeping. This is a recorded event. That way we can share this with you afterwards. So it is being recorded at the moment. You can also use the chat feature to put any questions or comments. We will have time for some questions at the end, but feel free to put those in throughout. And I, as the moderator, will keep track of those. Great to see we have a lot of people here from last week. Awesome. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Amber Miller-Ruoff, and I am the events manager with One Southern Indiana. So at this time, I will go ahead and introduce John Ross. John, if you will take it away and thank our sponsors.
Hi, my name is John Ross. I'm a professor over at IU Southeast, and we have some great sponsors. First of all, thank you to Caesars Foundation of Floyd County. They've been a huge supporter of this event. This event has actually been the culmination of several mini events going on for the past couple of years. They've been a huge supporter and many other events in the community. So thank you to Caesars Foundation of Floyd County. Thank you to IU Southeast School of Business. If you're interested in a graduate degree or an undergraduate degree, of course, go check them out, especially our nationally ranked MBA program. Thank you to One Southern Indiana and Amber for hosting this event. And finally, thank you to leader411.com. Check them out for any information on leadership or edutainment. Back to you, Amber.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. All right. And we all are here to hear from Miss Jenn Herman. So I'm going to do just a brief introduction and then let her take it away. We will be here until about 1 o'clock. Again, we'll do questions at the end, but feel free to use that chat feature. So Jenn Herman is a globally recognized speaker, blogger, and Instagram expert. She has worked with organizations of all sizes to structure their social media strategies and educate them on social media tactics. Her business background includes administration, sales, human resources, and marketing, and she enjoys bringing all of these skills together to help your business grow. Jenn has been featured in Inc., Fox News, Yahoo Finance, HuffPost, The Verge, CBS Radio LA, and numerous other podcasts and populations. Wow, publications. I'm sorry. You are a famous lady, Jen. She is the author of Instagram for Business for Dummies and Instagram for Dummies. So, Miss Jenn Herman, if you would take us away, we're eager and ready.
Thank you so much. And hello to everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. John was asking before we got started how I, get myself hyped up for these events. And I just get excited. I'm just happy to be hanging out with all of you today. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the screen here for us so we can all see. Let me move some things out of the way so nothing's blocking your screen. I cannot actively see the chat as we get going because I have it over on my side screen so that I can focus on all the things that we're talking about today. But if at any point you have any questions, please drop those in the chat. We will have time for questions at the end, as Amber mentioned. And I want to make sure that we answer your questions. You're here. I want to give you the best of that time. So let's definitely make sure that if you have those questions as we go, drop them in there. As a quick reminder, for those of you who are watching this live and who don't have the ability to hit rewind, you are welcome at any point to grab your phone and grab a screenshot of any of the slides so you don't have to write everything down. This is also being recorded so you can catch the replay, and I'm happy to send you the slides in a PDF afterwards if you want those, because this pace that I'm talking at is pretty much my normal pace. So I'm going to talk fast. I'm going to give you a lot of information, and I want to make sure you have as much opportunity to get as much information as possible. But rather than having to scribble quickly or any of that sort of stuff, if you want, like I said, grab screenshots or anything at any point, you are welcome to do so. All right, so today we are talking specifically about finding your target audience, how to use that to drive more conversions. So we're not talking just Instagram, even though that's what a lot of people know me for. We're talking social media in general today. And one of the things I want to talk about is picking our audience. So when it comes to picking our audience, are we really all that different? Now, normally I have audio in my slides, but thanks to one negative impact of Zoom, I can't actually play audio in my Zoom or in the slides in Zoom. So I've got my daughter's iPad here, and I'm going to play the audio this way. So I'm just going to pull this all up. But I want to know, are we really all that different? And I want to use these two examples. So here is an example, and hopefully this audio comes. All right, so many of you may recognize that song from Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, Islands in the Stream. So there's a funny story that I'm going to tie this all together in just a second, but many of you, let's go with probably over the age of 50, maybe even over the age of 60, recognize that song. Well, there's another song that we can look at as well. Let's play this one really quick. So that was the song by Maya. That was a remix from the 90s. And why I wanted to bring up that example is because what a lot of people don't realize is that, yes, we are actually very different from each other, but the message doesn't necessarily have to change, just the context of it does. And the reason why I use this song as an example is because my brother and I, he's a little bit younger than I am, this was in high school, we're sitting in the car and the Maya version comes on and I'm in the front seat, my mom's driving, my brother's in the back seat, and my brother and I are like, we're grooving out to the song, right? Well, the hook comes on with Maya and my mom starts singing the song. And my brother and I both look at her with, jaws on the floor of like, my mom is like not like the, culturally, aware of, she has no idea what's going on in pop culture and music. And she's singing a rap song. And we're like, how on earth does my mom possibly know what this song is? And that was where she told us, oh no, that song was along way before your time. That song's been around forever. It's a Kenny Rogers song. And so it's that remix, right? And that's where we need to think about when we're creating our social media strategy, our marketing content, that if we have a specific message, it doesn't have to change the entire message when we're talking to different generations, different groups, different people, but sometimes we need to put things in a different context. And that's a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. So first and foremost, what is important when it comes to figuring out how to craft your social media for your audience? Oh, hold on. Yeah, turn that down, please. Sorry, my daughter just took the iPad now that we're done with it and it's on full volume. So we need to know first and foremost, who is your audience? Who are these people? What are they doing? Where are they hanging out online? Are they using Facebook? Are they using Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Where are they? And what is their purpose for being on social media? Then we need to know, how should you talk to them? What are you going to say? How are you going to communicate with them in a way that resonates with them and makes sense? And then we need to know how, as a result of all that, are you going to create content specifically for them that is going to drive those conversions that you're looking for? So one of the things people always come to me and ask me for is, I want more followers. Jen, I need more followers. We need 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever it is. People want more followers. And that leads to closing more sales, right? More conversions. That's what we want. But that is only true if the followers are the right followers. This is not going to work if it's just a bunch of random people that have no interest in what it is you are actually doing or selling or providing. So we definitely want to get more followers. I get it, but we want to get the right ones. So I want to take a look at some of this data. This was from a study that was done a couple years back. And it asked, why do people follow a brand? And this is in order. So number one reason why people follow a brand on social media is because they like the brand. It's a product or service they actually like. And as a result, they want to follow them on social media. The second reason is they want to be notified of promotions or specials. So if you've got, a favorite clothing designer or a favorite, product, whether it's, a tech device or something like that, you want to know if they're going to have a sale or promotion so you can get it at a better price. Third is to learn about new products and services. Fourth, to stay up to date on brand news. And the last reason is for providing brand feedback. Now, typically, if they're following a brand, we're going to hope that they're doing it in a positive feedback method. Hey, I got this new product. I love it. It was great. Thank you so much. But there's also a good chance that we can get negative feedback where, hey, I got this new product. It came damaged, that sort of thing. And you need to be prepared to handle those circumstances and situations as well. So once you have your audience following you, that's not enough. You got them there. Now you have to keep them engaged in order to keep them. If you're not continuously providing value or those things that they chose, the reasons why they chose to follow you, then they very well may leave. So why do people unfollow a brand? Again, these are in order. Number one, too much self-promotional content. And a lot of brands are guilty of this. All we do is talk about us, right? Oh, we have this product for sale. Oh, look at this. We're doing new things. Oh, look at us. We're amazing. Oh, look at this amazing testimonial. Look, we have another product. Oh, look, things are on sale. Make sure you come by and check us out. It's always promotional. And if it's always promotional, people start tuning it out. If they're tuning it out, they're not seeing your content and it all becomes a useless vacuum of open space where no one is getting the real value anymore. Another reason why people unfollow a brand, boring content. And let's face it, we've all seen those brands that create boring content. If it's not of value to the person looking at it, and it's not going to provide any entertainment or education or excitement, they're probably going to unfollow you. They don't want you clogging up their feed with things that are irrelevant or boring. Another reason people unfollow brand, overuse of automated responses or activity. Now, how often have we seen this, especially from some of the larger brands, where you get that automated generic response. Thank you so much for your comment. Someone will reply to you within 24 hours. No, it's social media. It is meant to be social and engaged and personal and conversational. So we don't want to connect with brands who are always overusing those automated systems. Now, automated systems can obviously help and be valuable, but we need to use them in a strategic method that augments the personal and conversational tone that we already have in place. Another reason people unfollow brand, too much content. This is something that, and I, for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I don't really pull punches. I usually say, yeah, that was so 2014, or that's so 2017, right? Like it used to be a thing where more was better, right? And people were posting on Facebook 4 times a day, every day, and it was all this content. Nobody wants that much content. I'm going to tell you that up front right now. Most people are not going to want to see that much content. Exceptions to that rule are things like media publications, so news, entertainment, those sorts of things that have constant news updates, but they tend to be, somewhat interesting or valuable. And kind of another exception to that would usually be like professional sports teams. They can get away with, producing a ton of content. Other than kind of those two categories, most brands and businesses do not have enough high quality content to, even every day to post. Definitely not like 3-4 times a day. And it actually will hurt you algorithmically on most platforms if you're doing that much content. So let's slow down a little on that content strategy if you're one of those brands that are posting a lot of content. Another reason why people unfollow a brand, lack of engagement from the brand. So if people have chosen to follow you and if they have commented on your posts, or if they're mentioning you on social media and tagging you and using your hashtag and talking about your products, and you never respond to people, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to talk negatively about you and they're going to unfollow you. If people are taking time out of their day to acknowledge you, especially in a positive way, and you're not reciprocating with some sort of even just thank you, so glad you're enjoying it, it's going to cause a customer service barrier and it could cause people to unfollow you on social media. And the last reason why people will unfollow a brand, bad press or poor customer service. We have all seen examples of this in a variety of different shapes and forms where a brand does or says something inappropriate and all of a sudden they lose, 200,000 followers in a day because people get offended by what they said, or something that has been a bad experience for that brand they don't want to be associated with. So that's something else to be aware of just when it comes to crafting your content and trying not to, take those missteps. Okay, so now that you understand all of that, let's take a look at how to find your target audience. What are some things that you can look at and do to make sure that when it comes to your brand, you're getting in front of the right people? This is one of those slides you may want to grab a screenshot of because there's a lot of information on here. So first and foremost, one of the things you're going to look at are basic demographics, right? Age range, gender, geographical area. Are you serving a local geographical area? Are you a local business, or are you serving, a national level? Are you doing a global level? Who is your audience in that geographical region? Gender, are you typically speaking to males or females? Typically, when I create my content as Jenn's Trends, I'm talking to about a 45-year-old woman. That's typically my target audience. Doesn't mean men don't follow me or engage with my content. They absolutely do. But my typical audience is that specific category. And that goes into the age range as well. If you're speaking to people who are under the age of 30, you're going to have a different strategy than if you're talking to people who are 55 and older. So we'll get to more of that in just a couple slides. You're also going to want to dive even deeper if you can. The more information you can get on this, the more it can help you craft your content and get in front of your audience with the right tone and messaging. So, family status. Do they have kids? Are they preparing to have kids? Are their kids in college? Are their kids adults? Do they now have grandkids? What's that look like? Are they divorced? Are they married? Are they single? What does that look like? Then also things like their career information. Where are they in their careers? Are they starting out their careers? Are they mid-level managers? Are they senior level executives? That comes with an income bracket as well. Are these people typically going to be, struggling paycheck to paycheck, or are these people who are looking at investments and retirement funds and people who maybe have, more disposable income versus someone who is living paycheck to paycheck? And that could be at any echelon of the career ladder, but these are things you need to know in who you're targeting, because if you have a luxury product, you're not speaking to people who are, making $12 an hour. You're probably looking at people who are more advanced in their career and have that disposable income, and that's going to impact how you craft that content. Interests and hobbies, where do they go? What do they do? Where do they travel when we can travel? All those sorts of things. Are they the type of people who go camping in the woods? Do they go to a 5-star resort? Those are two different types of people and interests that help you craft your content. Then we want to start looking at what they do on social media, time spent on social media and when on social media. Now, caveat here, this last year has thrown everything into a tailspin when it comes to data. So this last year is like a massive outlier for data and recognition of trends, because you used to know, okay, my target audience are commuting in the morning and in the afternoons, and they're listening to podcasts and scrolling through social media when they're in their commute. Okay, that made sense. Well, this past year, people weren't commuting, so that all changed. But in general, we have those trends to know who that target audience is and when they're on social media. Are they using it during the day while the kids are at school? Are they using it in the mornings or afternoons when they're not at work? Are they checking on their lunch break? Are they only using it evenings and weekends? Those sorts of things are things you want to know. And how much time are they spending on social media? Are they a quick scroll for 5 minutes while waiting in line at Starbucks? Or are they sitting there scrolling through social media for an hour on, an evening sitting on the couch? Those things are important to know as well. And again, you won't know all of these details, but you can start to gather this information from your audience by watching their behaviors and learning who this ideal target audience is. You want to know what type of content they ingest, meaning, do they read or watch? For a fact, I can't stand watching videos. I want to fast forward through the video to get to the point that I want to get to. I prefer to read because I can scan, read, hone in where I want to, move on to the next paragraph. I am a reader, so I will read posts, I will read blogs, I will not listen to podcasts, and I will not watch videos. That's me. That's not everybody, right? So you need to know, does your audience typically respond better to video or photos? Do they respond better to audio, whether it's a podcast or a video, or are they going to be more likely to read a blog post? These sorts of things do impact how they consume that content. And that actually got cut off on the screen, but short or long form content, meaning, do they want short bite-sized content like stories, or do they want long form content like a YouTube video? Those play a factor as well. We also want to know what social media sites they're actually using. Which platforms are they most typically hanging out on? And we're going to talk more about that in the coming slides as well. Why they use social media. Are they there for work? Are they there for friends and family? Are they there for entertainment? Are they there for research and knowledge and education? Why are they there? Because if they're there for fun and you're hammering home a whole bunch of like data, stats, and research information, they're not ready to consume that at that time because they just want to look at cat memes and turn their brain off. So you need to know why they're using social media so you can make sure you're crafting content that meets them where they are. And finally, you want to know how they engage on social media. And this can be hard to figure out. So there are those people who are active. They're the ones who like everything and comment on everything, and you see their name everywhere, right? They're your active followers. But then you got those lurkers, and they're the people who look at everything, read everything, but never comment, never engage with it in a way that we see their name. And all of a sudden they pop up one day and they're like, oh, I've been following your content for 3 years. And you're like, really? Because I've never seen your name before. But they're lurking. It's not that they're not consuming it. It's just that you don't actively know who they are. And you're going to have both of those categories of followers interacting with your content. So we don't want to make it all in preference of those active users, even though they're the ones showing us what they react to. We have to keep in mind there are people watching and looking that aren't necessarily interacting. And you're going to have the advocates and you're going to have the complainers. Anybody and everybody is going to have a troll at some point who's going to come out and complain and want to start things. And you're going to have those people who are going to show up and go to bat for you every single day, no matter what. So you're going to have to learn to kind of balance those things as well and how to handle those circumstances and know who those people are. Look for ways to reward those advocates. Can you give them a 20% coupon? Can you give them a thank you? Can you send them some free product or a book or something, because they're just so actively participating with your brand? People love that kind of reward when they are obviously invested in your brand. And for those who are more of the complainers, the people who are looking to cause problems, we want to address them head on and pull them off the public forum. Things like, we're so sorry you had that experience. We would be happy to chat with you personally. Feel free to send us a DM or an email or call us, whatever it is, to get them off the public forum. It looks good for you that you've addressed the issue head on. And if they choose to continue it in a public forum after you've told them to take it private, everyone can see they're just a troll, versus actually looking for a solution to the problem. So things like that are ways that you can start to address and move forward with those, the different types of users. Okay, so now let's talk about the different generations. So there's going to be all those things we've talked about and all the things you want to categorize. There's so many things to dive into, and that's going to take time, right? These are things you might want to sit down with your team if you have a team of people. Even if you're the only person doing marketing, you want to talk to maybe other people in your organization, people in, whether it's in HR, you're recruiting, you want to talk to people, maybe your business development, you want to talk to people out there in sales. Who are they approaching? Who are they typically talking to? What are these people doing? What are their lifestyles, age ranges, those sorts of things, and help you gather more information so you can put that all together. But I'm going to go through a couple tips and tricks and tactics that you can use when it comes to crafting content for each of the different generations when it comes to your social media content. So first, let's look at the baby boomers. Those are people born 1946 to 1964. And previously, I'm going to stress that, previously, they were the largest financially important demographic. They were the ones that marketers marketed to. Everything went to the baby boomers because they were the ones that had the money to spend. Not so much anymore, because now they're most likely grandparents. They are either retired or nearing retirement, which means even if they have a lucrative career and good position and good financial stability right now, they are moving towards fixed income status as they go into retirement. They don't necessarily have that same level of disposable income because of their circumstances changing. A lot of them are travelers now. A lot of the baby boomers put their lives on hold when they had kids, had careers, and now that the kids have left the nest and they have all this extra time, they're traveling. They're doing the things they never got to do when they were younger. So a lot of boomers are looking to explore, find new things to do, even if it's just locally. So keep that in mind when you're crafting content for your boomers. They are cautious about online activities, even skeptical. They trust people and in-store or in-person activities more, meaning they can walk into a Best Buy and they're going to walk up to the salesperson and go, I don't know what I need. I need this thing to do this thing. And the person's going to tell them, and they're going to say, okay, that's what I need. They could go online and get completely overwhelmed and confused and not know what to do. So they're more likely to go in store or call somebody, maybe their kid. My parents call me consistently for these things, and ask for, what do we need? How do we do this? They want a person to explain the circumstances and help them through that buying cycle. They are also more likely to shop in store. If you are an online store, that's okay. But find ways that you can, if you're appealing to boomers, that you can make your content more in-store-ish, meaning videos, showcase what it looks like, give them more tangible things that they can visualize with that product or service, so it feels more like an in-store experience for them. In general, boomers will find their time on Facebook and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn from a more professional perspective, Facebook from a more personal perspective. Again, not saying they don't use other platforms, just in general, that's where you're going to find them. So when it comes to crafting content for your boomers, what does that look like? Well, You want more mature context. We want good sentence structure and grammar. Okay, this is important. They grew up with good education about English and structure of formatting when it comes to sentences, and they don't understand why we, truncate things and why we don't use punctuation and capital letters and why we do things like IDK. They don't get it. So we want to make sure that it's written in that more mature context. Darker colors with more contrast. This is a biological issue. I've been wearing glasses my whole life, okay? But most people have to start wearing glasses when they get older. Why? Because their eyesight goes. It's a fact. It's what happens when we get older. And as a result, darker colors, excuse me, darker colors, more contrast is easier for them to see. We don't want to do the pastels and like a light blush pink with a white font. They're going to be struggling to read that. We want to do the darker colors, more contrast. Then we want to appeal to their lifestyle. Where are they at in their lifestyle? What is relatable to them? Whether that's starting to travel, whether that's, having the older kids. Don't talk about things, for little kids unless you're appealing to them as grandparents, those sorts of things. We also want to keep our calls to action super simple, like one step, as few words as possible. Click the link in the bio, call us, click here, shop now. Like super simple, one step. We don't want to be head over to our website, then click over on the information tab and then scroll down. No, you've lost them. Okay. We want to keep calls to action in general for everybody. The simpler, the better, but especially for this generation, we want to make it one step actions to get them where they need to go. So here's an example that I can pull up here for you to kind of show you what this looks like in context. So this is from Electrolux, and they were running a contest for an ambassador program. So you've got a good long caption. It's 2 solid paragraphs, and this is well written, right? Good sentence structure. It's got good grammar, good punctuation, lots of commas, right? I know it sounds stereotypical, and I'm not trying to like shoehorn us into this, but this is honestly, if you put this in front of somebody who's 25, they're not going to read this. You put this in front of somebody who's 55, they're going to read it. It really is that different. Again, the context may be the same if you're talking to somebody who's 25, but the messaging is different when you're speaking to the baby boomers. So for this case, like I said, they've got good, the more mature context, good structure, all that sort of stuff. The image has dark with contrast. You really see the food, you see the pasta, and you see the food in the dish against the dark edges and the dark background. It's allowing them to get a clear focal point. It is appealing to their lifestyle. These are people who want to do these sorts of fun and exciting things. They get to be an ambassador and cook and they get all the new, cookware and all these sorts of things. That would absolutely appeal to somebody in that demographic. And call to action, learn more, link, boom, done. Super simple. This is a great example of how you would potentially target those baby boomers. All right, now let's talk about our Gen Xers, who are typically the most neglected generation. So for all my Xers on the call, hello, I see you. You are not forgotten, because let's face it, we all talk about the boomers and the millennials, and everyone forgets about these Gen Xers shoved in the middle, which are those born 1965 to 1980-ish. There's a lot of discrepancy of where X and Y really start and end, but let's say 1980. So these are traditionally going to be parents. They're in that age range where they have young to probably college-aged kids. They are largely divorced. Gen X is the most the most divorced population if you look at different generations. They are most likely going to be executives or higher level in their career. They are not anywhere near ready for retirement, but they are successful and they are moving up that corporate or business ladder in their careers and that sort of thing. They are career transient, meaning those boomers who picked a job and stayed there for 30 years, not those Xers. No, thank you. They are just ready to move on to the next thing, right? We're going to move to the next career, or stay in the same career, but move to the next company. They are career transient. They are also entrepreneurial. They want to buck the system, no big brother, no, government oversight. No, I'm going entrepreneurial. I'm doing my own thing. That is very Gen X. Most of them are homeowners at this point. They are the last generation of homeowners. Maybe that'll change, but right now they are typically going to be homeowners. They're happy to buy the home and set down those roots. They stay in a fixed location. They don't want to ramble around very much. They may travel here and there, but they like to stay in one place. They buy their homes. They usually stay in a relatively fixed location for a long period of time. Again, these are very stereotypical. There are exceptions to these rules, but this is in general. Gen X, typically when it comes to shopping and online behaviors, are very cynical. They don't trust anybody, right? You give them information, they want stats and data to back it up. They are going to be like, okay, if you say so. Like they need justification. They're going to be cynical of pretty much anything you bring to them. They are comfortable online. They grew up with computers, online shopping, all those social media things and everything. They're comfortable there, but they still like to shop in store. They kind of hover on that line between being one or the other. They're happy in both environments. For most of those Gen Xers, they're going to prefer to use Facebook, Twitter, and women are heavily active on Pinterest. You will see some of the Gen Xers on things like Instagram or other platforms, but in general, you're going to find them for their personal use and online activities on Facebook or Twitter. So what are we doing for creating content for those Gen Xers? We want conversational context. Do not talk down to a Gen Xer. Do not act superior to a Gen Xer. We want to have conversational dialogue. We also want those darker colors, more contrast. Again, they're not quite at that age of losing their eyesight, but they're getting a little bit closer. So those darker colors still help. We want to provide proof to counter their cynicism. Come to the table prepared that they're going to ask the questions and come ready to already knock down that cynicism. They're going to be more likely to move forward. And silly humor. I don't know what it is. I'm the cusp, like I'm a cusp XY. But the silly humor in the Gen X generation, like they just love goofy, silly things, and they like that entertainment factor and, things that other generations might be like, that wasn't funny. They're like rolling on the floor laughing. It is part of the generation in which they grew up, and that kind of 70s and 80s and that sort of thing ties into a lot of these behaviors. So what does this look like? Here's an example from Taylor Guitars. So it has buying a guitar as a gift this holiday season. It's important to pick a guitar that's comfortable and easy to play, whether you're shopping for a novice or expert. Learn how Taylor's player-friendly designs set us apart from the rest. And then they have the link. So they're saying, you're skeptical. Why are ours better? Let's tell you. So they're coming to the table and providing that proof to the already expected cynicism. You can see this. The people in this image are in that type of age range, maybe a little on the young side, but they're in that X age range in terms of the demographic of the people in the image itself. And they're laughing, they're having fun. It's uplifting, it feels good. And you can see this is written not in a super long caption. It's not quick and punchy like you might do for a millennial. This is a good example of how you would ultimately target a Gen X. All right, now let's talk about those millennials. Those are those born 1980 to 2000. They are now the largest financially important demographic. Those born in 1980, like yours truly, are 40 years old. We are not in college. We are not broke. We're the ones with the buying power. So these are the ones that most marketers are typically targeting these days because they're the most financially significant and significantly impactful demographic when it comes to buying power. So most millennials are parents, more so to younger kids in general, or getting ready to start families. They are renters. Most millennials do not own their homes. A lot of them are going to be happy to rent and move around and stay transient in that way. Most of them are going to be manager level. So they're moving up in their career. They're not at the executive level yet. They're still a little young. So most of them are going to be in that kind of mid-level. A lot of them are business owners. They decided they wanted to go out on their own and do something for the world. They want to change the world. And so they have started their own business. That is very common with the millennials. That also ties into startups. You'll notice most startups are typically founded by a millennial. Again, they want to change the world. They want to leave an impact. They want to do something for the world, and they're starting their own business as a result. They are transient, like I said. They will move anywhere and everywhere. You want to move them to another country? Great, let's go. No notice? Okay, let's go tomorrow. They are much more likely to pick up and move on very little notice. In terms of online activity, behaviors, shopping, that sort of thing, they question everything, okay? Nothing you give them is ever going to be taken at face value. They are going to question and research everything, and they will do it in about 38 seconds and call you out if they don't agree with you. So be prepared for that level of research and response. They want instant gratification. They want what they want right now. Hence, all the reasons we have Amazon Prime, all these things, right? We want it like not tomorrow. I want it today. I want it right now. If I want something, I want a new car, I want it today. I don't want to, spend 3 months researching and test driving. I want a car today. Millennials are that instant gratification demographic. They will primarily shop online. Even if they have to go into a store, they will typically search online, whether they're scanning it and looking it up in the store and then deciding if they want to buy it, or they'll research it and then go into the store to buy it so they can get it immediately, that sort of thing. Completely digital savvy, understand all the technology and all that sort of stuff and all the social media and how everything works. So I always use this example, and I've actually done this on stage multiple times, where I say, if I'm standing in a room, let's say it's a networking event after a live event, which, will happen again someday. And I walk up to a group of people and I say, hi, I'm Jenn Herman. I'm the world's forefront blogger on Instagram marketing. I've written a number of books and I speak on stages around the world and I love to help businesses with social media. The boomers in the group go, wow, that's amazing. They're going to go over and tell, John over here and be like, hey, by the way, did you know Jenn Herman, she wrote all these books and she's a globally recognized expert and she's awesome. The Gen Xers are going to be like, good for you. The millennials already have their phone out. They've already Googled me to verify those facts and data. That's the difference in the three generations, telling them the same thing and how they respond. And why I use this example is because literally, when I'm in a room with hundreds of people, inevitably, before I've even said this example, I'll have the millennials put up their hand and go, I just Googled you. Like they literally are doing it while I'm giving them this example to validate that information. And the Gen Xers are literally sitting there with their arms crossed, like, okay, give it to me, girl. Like it's just funny because it really is stereotypical, but this is how these people communicate in general from how we have been raised, conditioned, learned, all these sorts of things. And finally, those millennials prefer to use Instagram, TikTok, and they will use Facebook for family and connections and those sorts of things. But for most of their entertainment will be more Instagram and TikTok related. So how are we going to create the content for the millennials? We want it to be trendy and fun. We want upbeat. We want quick. We want witty. We want things like those stories, the TikToks, all that kind of stuff, like the viral type content, very big with the millennials, right? Light, bright colors, or those more muted colors. We can get into those pastels or those bright, cheery colors for the millennials. They have the eyesight. Sorry to us older people. You want to back up your claims. Anything you say, you better be prepared to back up that information and or get called out on it. And provide quality education. The millennials, especially the younger ones, they don't know everything yet. We like to think we do, but we don't. Educate, provide that quality education to make us feel like we learned something, that we're smarter, that we have more knowledge and experience. They will thrive on that. Here's an example of what a good example would look like. This is from West Elm. So you can see bright, check, airy, check, comfy, check, glam, check, plans for days, check, check, check. This NYC apartment checks all the boxes, right? That's very millennial. Like you would not post that for a boomer audience. They would be like, what is happening? I don't know how to read this. It's not even a sentence. Millennials are like, yes, honey, yes, give me more. So you need to, again, you could put this same image in context for a different generation. You would just write a different caption if that was your target audience. All right, so where should you be marketing yourself on social media now that you know all these things about your audience and where to find them? You need to go where your target audience is. look at your audience demographics. What does that information tell you? Look at Facebook, look at Instagram, look at LinkedIn. They tell you who your audience is, who is currently following you, and where they're located, who they are, age range, careers, those sorts of things. You can also rely on social listening and analytics. You can go out and there's a variety of tools out there, or even just look for every time your app mentioned or someone's using your hashtag or you've been tagged in a post, those sorts of things. It will tell you who's talking about you and in what context, what platform it is, why they're using your product. Now you can see who they are, how old they are, where they live, all these sorts of things. And finally, ask them. If you have a newsletter, ask them. Say, we're thinking of launching a new, Instagram campaign. Do you hang out on Instagram? Would you join us there? Yes or no? Ask them. Post it on your social media. If you do in-store activities, actually ask your customers that come in and say, hey, do you guys usually hang out more on Facebook or Instagram? We're trying to look at our strategy and just make sure we're making the right choice. Let them tell you. They will tell you where they want to see you. So finally, when it comes to putting all of this together and creating all this information for your audience, you need to build a community first. You need to put your content out there, but be prepared to have those relationships and conversations. You need to be able to respond. You need to be able to show up in direct messages. You need to be able to reply to comments and inquiries. You need to be there and be present and creating content that is of value to your audience so that they want to engage. Build that community. Create the content that is relevant to your audience. It is not about you. It is, but it's not. Because if you give them what they want, if you make it about them, they will interact, they will be ready to buy. So when you do tell them to buy, they do buy. So in the long run, it really is about you. But up front, we want to make it about them. Stay true to your brand voice and style. If your brand voice is polished and professional and, pencil skirts and high heels, don't go on Instagram and start acting like a surfer. That's not going to correlate. Whatever platform you are on, across all the platforms, from your website to your newsletter to all your social media, maintain your brand voice and style. Be consistent and attack that platform with that transparency about your brand. And finally, have fun. It is social media. It is meant to be fun, interactive, entertaining. Connect with that audience and have fun. If you look at your content, and I always challenge my audience to do this, go look at your content from a good, kind of outsider perspective. Come in a little analytical. Look at your content. Would you, as a consumer, not as the CEO, not as the marketer, not as the person who works at the company, would you like that content? If you don't, it's time to revise your strategy. If you do, great. But maybe ask a few other people as well and look and see if you feel like your content is not performing, what can you do differently to make it more fun, to drive up that engagement, to drive up that encouragement of conversation with your audience. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. We do have time for those questions. So if you have questions from anything we've talked about, drop those in the chat right now. I am happy to answer those questions live. Here's where you can connect with me all around the world. JennsTrends.com is the website that has links to pretty much everything. Shoot me an email, jen@JennsTrends.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Clubhouse, all those things at Jenns_trends. And if you really want to stay up to date on all the things, go check out my Facebook group, Jenns Trends in Social Media. Just go to Facebook and search that. That is where we share all breaking news related to Instagram and talk all things social media, news, updates, all that information is always available there. So make sure you go check out the Facebook group. All right, Amber, let's do questions.
All right. Excellent. And I went ahead and put your email in the chat as well so that they have it. So we'll leave the screen share up for just a couple more seconds, and then we'll take that down so we can see Jenn's beautiful face. But we do have our first question, specifically, how do you recommend growing an audience for a local organization?
Great question. Okay, let me go ahead. I'll stop the screen share. So for local, it's going to depend on your platform, right? So it's a little bit different if you're using Facebook than if you're using Twitter, than if you're using Instagram or those sorts of things. In general, you're going to want to target local events, local activities, local content. So if you're serving that local geographical area, you know what's going on. You know what the weather's like. You can talk about the fact that You guys had snow yesterday in the middle of April. What's going on? That's relatable. You can have things that are, related to food events. If there's like San Diego, we had our San Diego Restaurant Week happened last week. So things like that are going on. If there are home and garden shows, any of these sorts of things that are going on, when you can share advice and tips locally, even if it's, let's say, if you are, a restaurant, obviously you can talk about restaurant things, but you could still talk about things like a home and garden show. So it still can be related because you're serving your target audience in that location. And the reason this works is because if you're providing valuable content, it becomes shareable. Meaning if I see your post, I'm going to go, yeah, that's really good information. Let me share that to my Facebook friends. Let me put that up on my feed. Let me share that to my Instagram stories. And now I'm sharing that with my audience, many of whom are probably local. They're going to see it. They're going to come over and see that content. So think about things that are relevant to your unique area, tips and advice, education. Those are always good shareable pieces of content. Ideally, you're probably also going to want to look at advertising. And we did not talk advertising today because that gets into a whole other conversation that opens up a whole other can of worms and hours of talk and conversation. But you'd probably want to look at advertising and look to run some ads. It's important that you have your organic strategy down first so you know what's working. If you put money behind something that's not performing, not going to perform any better with money. It's just expensive. So we want to know what's working well from an organic perspective and then put money behind that to target that local geographic. So again, putting it in front of that very specific audience can help you reach those people as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Our next question has to do with churches. And have you seen the same application of this for social media for those churches?
Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot that you can do, in the nonprofit space and in, the religious spaces where it's very similar, right? You're going to be creating content to appeal to who you most want to appeal to on social media. So let's say for your church, you want to increase, your congregation size. So maybe you're going to look at things to be able to, again, get that shareable content, get people talking about you, sharing when you've got, either, guest performances coming in, or you've got unique sermons happening, or if you had a really great experience that you want to share out and be like, hey, we had really great feedback from this one. We plan on doing it again. That becomes, again, kind of that shareable content. But what you would want to do in that case is if you're also trying to target maybe an older demographic, right? You want to bring in those people who are in that boomer generation. You're going to write certain content crafted for them on Facebook. Then on Instagram, where you're trying to approach more of the younger demographic, those with the young kids, and get them back into church. Maybe they haven't been in church for a while and you want to appeal to them. You're going to do that on Instagram with more of a focus towards that younger demographic. So you need to know who you're reaching out to if you're trying to build the size of the congregation and get new people joining. Where are they? What's the age you're trying to target, and figure out where to go from there. And even if it's just retention, just trying to keep, things going with your existing congregation, same thing. Who is your congregation? Are you mostly looking at those in the X and, boomer generations? Okay, craft our content on Facebook accordingly. Maybe do Instagram as well, but realize who that audience is and who you're speaking to.
Excellent. So we have a lot more questions coming in. So any tips for getting a verified check mark on social media? We all know about that, like blue check mark, don't we? So
yes, and if anybody has, the good workaround, please feel free to tell me, because I'm still waiting for my check marks. Honestly, it's a very complicated, there is no right answer. Twitter stopped doing it and then they kind of started doing it again. And then I don't know. Instagram is pretty much impossible to get it. I meet all of the criteria, including the fact that I've been impersonated, the fact that I've been on TV, the fact that I'm a well-recognized name. They still won't give me a check mark. And I think it's almost out of spite, to be honest, at this point. But it's honestly like there is no good way to do it. If you are a large enough brand, most of the social media platforms don't have a number. It's arbitrary. It's that you are most likely to be impersonated, or that you run the risk of confusion of like knockoffs of your brand that people would mistake as being your brand, and they want to know that you're the right one. So we typically see it with obviously celebrities, large organizations. if anyone remembers the egg from whatever that was, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, when there was the egg that showed up on social media and it became this whole thing, and they got verified on Instagram in 24 hours because they all of a sudden had like 2 million followers in like no time at all. I'm like, really? An egg got verified? But because it was a viral sensation, it ran the risk and it was getting impersonated. So they gave the original egg all of the verification tools. So there really isn't anything I can tell you. Go through the verification process, come prepared to back up all the documents. So make sure that your business name on your social media platforms matches the business name on whether it's your business license or that sort of thing. Have any validating, additional documents. They usually want to see your business license or your driver's license, something that proves it's you. And my best advice is apply. And I mean, most places, most of the platforms you can apply monthly. So once a month, just put on your calendar and hit apply. Just keep doing it. 3 times you may get it, 30 times you may get it. That's honestly the best way, is to just keep applying.
All right. This is a really good question. So how can we best attract millennials to jobs that historically were once considered dirty jobs, such as manufacturing? Manufacturing has changed so much. So how do we use social media to attract them to want to work there?
I love this question. The wheels are spinning in my head already. So here's some things behind the scenes. Take people through a walkthrough of your facility. Nothing that's going to, reveal any trade secrets or violate any, legal clauses or any of that sort of thing. Because I know there's a lot of, restrictions when what you can and can't show publicly. But whatever you can and wherever you can, getting those behind the scenes walkthroughs, interviews and testimonials from existing employees, showcasing what it's like to go through a product development. So not even just the actual manufacturing itself, but the research, the design, the marketing sides of it. Put that type of content out there. This is going to be a very educationally based strategy. Not so much the fun factor, but you can mix in some of the fun. Show millennials in the workspace. So show these people laughing, having fun, make it relatable. If all your content shows people who are 50, 60 years old, the 25-year-old is going to be like, I don't want to work there. Make it relatable to them. Think about how they write. Look at somebody on your team who can write to a millennial, speak their language, use the acronyms, use the slang and the language to make it more relatable to that target audience. Definitely look at things like Instagram and TikTok as that, again, kind of fun factor for this. And do those, like I said, kind of before and after, like, here's how something is built, here's how we get there, here's what the process looks like, and here's the finished product. Talk about how that product that is being manufactured is serving the world. Millennials have that cause-based motivation. They want to know that if they go into a factory and they're building something, that it's actually helping. So is this, reducing greenhouse emissions? Is this something that's going to give, more kids an opportunity in another country? What is it? What's the cause? What's the mission? What's the value? Find ways to tie into that as well and show how what they're doing on a day-to-day functionality is actually serving that ultimate end goal.
Awesome. I never even thought about doing like a behind the scenes tour and testimonials and stuff like that. So excellent advice. We do have some questions regarding a nonprofit. So for a local nonprofit, what is the appropriate number of weekly posts for algorithmic purposes?
Test. There really is no great answer to this, and it's going to depend on the platform. Typically, when we look at Facebook, you're going to want 1 to 3 posts a week, give or take. Again, you're going to have to test. Instagram, kind of the same thing, 2 to 3, 4 posts a week, maybe. If you're looking at other platforms, LinkedIn could be more if you really wanted to. The key here, not more than once a day. Okay, that's key. So 7 is like pretty much the max you'd want to do. And even that I would think would be too much. If you can only do once a week to create the high quality, valuable content, that's fine. The key algorithmically is more about the quality of the content than it is about the quantity. Meaning you want to create the content that people are going to engage with. And the problem that a lot of nonprofits come across is we want to overly share all the things a nonprofit does. And that actually tends to alienate the audience. So again, think about the value for the person on the other end. If you're trying to raise, raise funds, you're doing a fundraising campaign, don't always talk about, oh, here's all the great things we've done and we've raised all this money in the past and help us beat it this year. No, tell me why me giving you my money is of value to me, right? We got to flip the script. And that takes time to write that content and to come up with those examples and to get those testimonials or those interviews and craft that content. And if that means you only do it once a week, that's okay. But it means you're going to get more fundraising out of it because you made it valuable to the person on the other end, more so than just saying, hey, give me your money. We need more money. We need more money. We need more money. That's not going to perform well just because of the context. So from that perspective, really, again, quality, look at what you're creating in terms of the content. Are you doing videos? Are you doing text-based posts? Are you doing stories? You can do more stories, whether Facebook or Instagram, or if it's, TikTok, Snapchat, those sorts of things. You can do more content there than in the feed. But definitely you're going to have to test. You're going to have to look and see. If you go down to posting once a week, does your engagement go up? Do you get more by posting less? If you post 3 times a week, is that performing better? And a quick tip for everybody, testing is a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so we don't test for a week and go, oh, didn't work for me. No, because the algorithms have to adapt to you and your audience has to adapt to you. So 4 to 6 weeks to really test anything. So if you want to test doing it once a week, test that for a month or 6 weeks. Then move to 3 times a week and test that for 4 to 6 weeks. It will take you 3 to 6 months to really test this out and figure out what works best for your audience.
Excellent. Yeah, I was thinking it'd be like 1 week, but what do I know? So 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, awesome. So we do have a couple more questions. Are you okay, or do you want to do just one more question, Jen?
I'm good. As long as people are staying on and watching us, I'm happy to chat a little bit more.
Excellent. Okay, so to appeal to teenagers, that 2000 to 2007 range, should a company use the same strategies that they used to appeal to millennials?
Yes-ish. And this is because for the most part, they're going to be active on those similar platforms. They're going to be active on Instagram. They're going to be active on TikTok, Snapchat, those sorts of things. So in that context, again, they're very digitally savvy. They, are going to spend their time online. The difference is you're going to want more short form content for that younger audience. As we skew younger, the attention span shrinks. So again, I tend to feel like an old lady because I'm like, I don't understand this short form content and it's just too quick for me. But the younger we go, they want stories, right? They want that 5 to 15 second content. So you need to learn how to craft your content in bite-sized digestible content. Even if it's not a story format, quick and easy. So that West Elm example I had where it was like bright, check, airy, check. Again, that would appeal to that kind of teenage younger demographic. Definitely start looking at short form content though. That's where you're going to have to be.
All right. And then, what is your opinion on industry focused hashtags?
Yes. And if you want, go to Instagram or go to YouTube and search Jenn's Trends, find my channel, and you'll see I have the best Instagram hashtag strategy where I literally spend, I think, 12 minutes really explaining hashtags and how to use them on Instagram. But industry hashtags are good when used in conjunction with other things. So I'm going to use a broad example, and this can appeal to pretty much anything, even if you're using hashtags on something like Twitter or on LinkedIn. I always use the example of car insurance. If you are a car insurance broker and you put hashtag car insurance on your content, you are not attracting your target audience because nobody is going to Instagram or LinkedIn to look for car insurance. They're going to go to Google. So the only people looking at hashtag car insurance are your competitors. That is not going to serve you in the long run. Doesn't mean you don't want to use it. But in that situation, you want to think about what your audience is doing. Who is that target audience? What are they looking for? What are they doing on social media? So let's use Instagram as an example. They might be looking at things like hashtag new car, hashtag Jeep, hashtag my first car, hashtag dream car. those are the places where they're actually looking at and creating content. So if you as a car insurance broker are creating content using those hashtags, your audience is going to find you because you're showing up where they are. And somebody who needs a new car probably needs car insurance, right? So you're meeting them where they are. And that's an extreme example, but in the B2B space, in the nonprofit space, these types of things, you want to be cognizant of this, not saying you're not going to use those industry hashtags. You're going to use things like, if you're in manufacturing, you can absolutely use things related to manufacturing. But again, the average person is not going to go to social media looking for hashtag manufacturing jobs or hashtag manufacturing life, right? They're not looking for that, but they are going to be looking for things related to their personal choice and activities, the geographical area where they live, things that, they are interested in learning about that may be related to what it is you manufacture. So you definitely can use those industry hashtags, but go beyond those and think more about what your audience is doing and where you can meet them.
Awesome.
Just
All right.
real quick.
Go ahead, John.
We do have people that are needing to leave to go back to work, and lunchtime's over and such. So I just want to plug our sponsors once again. The Caesars Foundation of Floyd County, been huge for us. IU Southeast School of Business, check out their graduate degrees. One Southern Indiana, with all their great members and their support of education in the community. And of course, leader411.com. Check them out for some great articles. Connect with us on LinkedIn, follow Jenn and all the many platforms that she mentioned before. And just again, quick plug, if you guys need to go, thank you so much for joining us. I think we have one more question. We can address that question, then we can.
Yes, one more question.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, and then we'll do one thing after the next question.
And we'll do the thing.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah, so hang on, wait for the thing. Yeah.
If you can hold on for a couple more seconds, you might be excited to stick around. But last question. So this company works with a lot of universities, community colleges, school districts, and other government and business training programs. So without a product that anyone can pick up, what should they concentrate on?
Good question. So I'm assuming in this case, and Jared, if you want to clarify, you have a service or a product that the universities and colleges are using, right? Like you're not attracting the students, but you're actually working with the organizations in and of themselves. So if you can just clarify that is the case, that will kind of help this answer. But with that in mind, again, so we have products that they purchase, correct? Okay. So in this case, you are targeting those industries, those users. They're still human beings, right? So they're still doing that. You have to realize that, what are they doing on social media? So these people work at a university, they work in colleges, they work in government, that sort of thing. They're probably not necessarily going on social media to do their job, right? They're busy in the slog of everyday of things they got to do. They're doing purchasing, they're in offices, they're all these other things. They're not really scrolling through social media in this capacity. So although we want to create a knowledge and an awareness about what it is you have, the products you have, absolutely create that content, make it educational. Here's why our product is unique. Here's why, here's where, it has been used in the past. Here's some testimonials. You want to have all that for sure. But you also want to start thinking about what those campuses are doing and how your product augments or makes their experience better. We want to talk to the pain point. We want to talk to that problem that those people have that they're trying to solve. So whatever it is your product does, if it makes if it's a software that makes their life easier, let's talk to that pain point. Let's put that type of content in there. But then also let's start talking about the lifestyle of these people. So this could, I hate the memes. I hate memes. I'm not a big fan of the memes. But this is a place where you could start to mix those in, like, university life memes or anything related to, that kind of being stuck in an office while all the kids are out in the yard kind of mentality. Like when you're busy working and everyone else is out having fun, any of those kind of things, anecdotes, memes, that type of thing that they are relating to, right? They're going to be like, oh my God, this person is speaking my language. That's going to be the fun factor that's going to pull them in. We don't want to overdo that content, but that is the content that's going to keep your content active in their feeds. Those are things that are going to show up on those explores and searches that they're going to relate to. So you're going to want to tie into kind of the humor, the fun, the relatability of their lifestyle. If you're specifically targeting universities and colleges in a geographical area, so, in only the, Northeast or in certain areas, you could tie into things like we talked about before, whether it's weather related, news trend, any of those sorts of things that are going on in those industries or those areas as well. That can definitely be a value add to, again, connect emotionally with them.
All right. Everyone, I need everyone to pause what you're doing right now and get ready to type. Everyone go get ready to type on that. First of all, say thank you to Jen. Thank you very much. You can give an applause emoji or just put thank you in the chat over there. Thank you so much, Jen, for participating with us. Also, look at him pouring.
Look at this. I love it. Do it more.
Thank you so much. Okay, now here's the next part. If you are in the area and you are able to go to One SI, to One Southern Indiana, to the building to pick up a book. We have a number of books that we're giving away, Instagram for Business, written by Jen. So if you are nearby and you would like one of these books and you are able to go pick one up, write it in the chat. We will take we'll give them away until it runs out. So go ahead and put in there. Amber's taking names over there.
They're popping it.
I know there's so many. This is great. So again, thank you so much. Make sure that you follow all three of us, One Southern Indiana, all of our subscribers or all of our sponsors and Jen as well. And that's it. Thank you. Amber, any last words?
I am taking pictures of the chat to get all of these people. I'm not sure how many copies we have, but I am grabbing all of your names. So you will receive an email from me in the next few days if you are one of the lucky ones. I think we have 7 or 8, maybe. So
and we might have more. I don't know. We'll see. So
yeah,
make sure when you get the email that you respond, because we might move on to the next person.
That's right. That's right. So I think I've got everybody. Thank you all so much again for joining us. Next Friday, not Thursday, next Friday, April 30th, we will have Daryl Eves here with us from 12 to 1. Again, grab some lunch, grab a coffee, and learn about his YouTube strategies as well. So again, thank you so much, Jenn Herman, for being here today. Feel free to reach out to her. She gave you all of her social media and email. And again, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys. And thank you everybody for hanging out for all this extra time as well. I'm so grateful to spend the day with you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, everyone.